because I got 3 screens. Like when I'm doing this, I'm actually looking at my laptop, which is kind of behind me a little bit. Ah yes, the Caligula economic plan. In fact, while we're waiting, hopefully I can click on things. Here we go. And we can see the different character interactions. If it lets me. It does. So, plan assassination, banish. You can make friends with them. Ah yes, you can have friends and rivals. More about that in a minute. Execute, hold games, which increases your own popularity. Hold a triumph, which will increase their loyalty and popularity. So it's a good way of getting loyalty, but you need to be careful to use it too much, otherwise they gain popularity. Which can be a problem, because popular characters can become more of a threat to you, because they'll have more support during a civil war. You can imprison them, you can inspire disloyalty for opposing characters. You can try to recruit them, you can turn them into a rival, or you can seek treatment if they are unwell. So, friends and rivals. There are events between characters which can turn them into a friend or a rival. The number of friends or rivals you can have is actually modifiable. There are some laws which allow you to have more friends or more rivals, which is kind of interesting. Plus you can use the make friends or make rival buttons as well. Although I found the make friends one to be a little bit finicky, because it does not just cost 25 civic and 25 oratory and 25 religious power. It can also cost you a bucket load of money, because you're basically bribing them. So you may as well just outright bribe them. Eldra. Scorned families. Yes, that is another thing. So every family in your realm, unfortunately I cannot currently click on Rome. Otherwise I would do so, and that would allow me to see, because Rome's going to have a lot of scorned families. But every family expects to make something like 3% of your total national income, or 2%, 3%, something like that. I don't remember exactly which one. And if they do not, then they're considered scorned, and they have loyalty problems. Now, generally, because scorned characters aren't making a lot of money, they don't tend to have a lot of power, but you could also, like, remove someone from office who was getting too popular, which would turn them into a scorned character, reduces their loyalty, but they're still pretty popular with a lot of money, then they could still be a threat, for example. And depending on offices and commander positions, I'm not actually sure that I'm in this game. I'm just going to double check that in a second. I was saying something, but I've totally forgotten what it was. Where's Midge right now? There he is.
I have no deals with them.
Hi.
No, you sure got deals with other people. Hello, Mordred.
Are we actually in a game right now?
Yeah.
Is it actually progressing?
No.
No.
Not yet.
Okay.
People are still loading in.
Okay.
I'm down here because Solar's having a little bit of trouble coming in.
Yeah, I'm getting host timed out. I'm stuck at 0%. Let me actually see if my checksum changed, because that might have been the cause.
You wouldn't even be able to see the game if it was.
You sure?
Yeah, that's why I came down here. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't having tech issues.
No, it's not you.
What is going on?
Huh. Ben's getting host timed out. Everyone's getting host timed out.
Yeah.
I think the way you ran this, Midge, it's not going to work with how you started this server up for this one. Maybe save it with this couple of time with the little day difference, and host it from that save. So we're past that little hiccup, and that would be what I'd say would be the best way. And a normal server, maybe hot join is just really unstable.
Okay, so this was a hot join. Okay, that would explain why I didn't have a lobby.
There's no lobby. Yeah. That's
I was a bit like, okay, I'm in the game. I did not choose observer, but I'm with the observer. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, that would
Yes.
automatically mean it was a lobby.
It does look like hot join has problems.
Yeah.
All right. Remember to restart your games.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do so now.
Exit to desktop.
Fun, fun, fun.
Hey, we're troubleshooting a game that we shouldn't have to, but we do. We are.
It is a pre-release.
It is a pre-release. This is all, and I
Good.
obviously I can't I can't give my full opinions on the game now because now there is 2 people here that are streaming in this chat.
Yes. Hi.
So,
Yes, no reviews of the game.
no reviews of the game. No.
Not until the 20...
I have no.
I can neither confirm or deny that I have an opinion.
I have no strong opinions one way or the other. Oh god, this room is sweltering.
I'm still lucky it's morning at the moment, but I have a west-facing house, so throughout the day this armor is going to get hot.
Oh, you're wearing armor?
Are you wearing the armor?
Yeah.
Christ.
I gotta see.
I'm gonna buy myself a laurel
It is
crown.
81 degrees Fahrenheit in this room right now.
I don't understand
Jeez.
Fahrenheit, so that's not a civilized way to express yourself.
Let's see here.
Wow.
I mean, literally, you're like the only one left in the world. You're Americans.
Yeah, but we're many.
You're nothing. 300 million. That's like
Game's
less
up.
than 5%.
Cool.
Well, that can't be right. The other line of numbers should be Celsius, but it doesn't. That doesn't look correct because
What
it
does it
looks
say?
looks like when it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit, it's somewhere around like the mids. That can't be right. The
Wait,
mid 60s. No, that's mislabeled. That's got.
Alright, just going to go back to my room so I can actually talk a bit. Password 123. Oh. Yeah, the game itself releases on the 25th. The thing I wasn't sure about is when you can review. We do have an embargo email, and that's at the point when we can say if we like it or not. Hot join is problematic in a Paradox game? Nonsense. Well, hot join seems to be pretty good in Stellaris and EU4. Can't remember how it is in Hearts of Iron or Crusader Kings. In fact, one thing I could be doing is seeing what the YouTubes are thinking of the video I've posted up now. YouTube Studio. Alright, we are in the game and ready. Marvellous. Oh, yep, the video's alive, they're doing well. Good, good, good. Has CK2 got legit hot join? I couldn't remember CK2, which is why I was wondering about that one. Crusader Kings is a bit rough with hot joining. You also need to restart the client every time you back out of a multiplayer game. That's true for every game except for... No, that's true for Crusader Kings and EU4. I don't remember it being true for Stellaris or Hearts of Iron. Like, EU4 does it automatically. Every time you back out of a game, it'll just restart. I mean, Omni, I would say go watch the YouTube series and just keep this open in the window so you can see when we like have the main screen up, and then I'll be repeating many of the mechanics and that kind of thing throughout the day, I'm sure, because this is a 12-hour stream and we're only 2 hours into it, so we've got another 10 to go, so plenty of time, and I'm very much expecting people to be coming and going as the stream goes on. Are events much of a thing? Yes. Events are a big deal, actually. Particularly for some countries which have more of them. So, for example, Rome, you'll have a lot more flavor events around the rise of Rome. So, like your conquest of Sardinia / Corsica, the Punic Wars, the absorption of the Samnites and the Etruscans. There are some events for the tribals, which I think I can now talk about, seeing as my YouTube video is now live. You can see who I'm playing as. It's I'm actually really proud of that series. Just a flash of brilliance. I like the intro too. Just to like big myself up a little bit. I'm trying to think who I've actually tried as. I've played a game as Rome. I've played a game as the Langobards. I actually played about 3 games with the Langobards to make sure what I was trying to do was possible. Oh, and I played a game of Frisia, which was very abortive. Didn't go very well. But that's where I learned how the migration mechanics worked. So Frisia was kind of an important one for that, because it made me realize migration is really cool. So you can literally just uproot your country and just move somewhere else, as any of these guys. In fact, you might be able to do it as a settled tribe. I don't know if you can, like, go backwards. In fact, tribal mechanics, there's a thing called centralization. The lower your centralization, the cheaper migration is. So settled tribes might be able to migrate. Not sure. But the migratory tribes are very good at migrating. It's quite cheap for them. Like Native Americans in EU4. It's a lot more flashed out than the Native Americans. So, when you migrate, you will literally abandon the province, and then all of the population in that province will become part of your army. So you will actually have an army of light infantry, which are basically your migrants. And then if you physically move them on the map somewhere else, then press a button which is settle, and then boom, it's yours. And then any people who are already living in that province are absorbed into your nation. I think it might be possible to do that to territory already owned by someone. At least I think that's how barbarians work. But I'm not entirely sure on that point. I have not tried it. But I do like the migration system. And then outside of migration, you also have a thing called colonization, which is you have to have a province adjacent to an open area with at least 10 population in it. Then you can basically colonize, where you move 1 population from that 10 into the adjacent province. Then any people in that province, when you colonize it, are also absorbed into your nation. But again, they'll have the wrong culture and the wrong faith. I think when you settle, they automatically convert. I think that's one difference between colonization and settling. Alright, so we seem to be back in the game. I'm just going to double check Discord. Doesn't look like anyone is saying anything particular. Let me just double check one thing, because I am being pinged a lot and it's in a different channel. Yeah, it's quite nice having one of the developers playing with us, because he's able to speak to Paradox directly and like get tips on like the rehosts and everything like that, which is why hopefully this is going to be a little bit smoother. And time is moving. We are progressing. So let me just put that back onto the commentators chat. And we should be good to go. Okay, fantastic. So, while we were talking about populations, I think it would be a good idea to continue that. Because it is actually entirely possible to click on the population button and see the individual people. Well, their unit of people. And you have 4 options. You can promote, convert, assimilate, and move. The different functions cost different types of monarch points, and that is something else we need to talk about. So, I'm going to try and find someone who has not necessarily done everything. Oh, right, yeah, citizens can't promote. Duh. There's nothing to promote to. So clicking on the citizens, bad idea. So it will cost oratory power to promote or to assimilate. Promoting is basically turning a freeman into a city, or a citizen, not a city, or a slave into a freeman, or a tribesman into a freeman. Then you can convert, which costs religious power, fairly obviously, and that will change the religion from whatever it was to whatever yours is. Then there is assimilate, which is changing their culture to whatever yours is, and that costs oratory power as well. Or you can just move them, which is what Carthage may or may not be planning to do with his people in Sicily. Now, the thing I'm not sure about is I'm pretty sure you can only move to an adjacent province. So I don't know if it's going to be possible for him to move from Sicily over to North Africa. It'd be kind of interesting to see if he can. In fact, if we go over to you and press move, and Celius, Eryx, Ziz, Epania, Egesta, and Capara. No, it does not look like it's going to be possible for him to move outside of that province. Although apparently you can move to any province or any tile within that province. Also want to show the scorned families. Thank you, I did, yes. Though I think I already basically explained everything there was to about them. So if we go to the Show Families tab, you can see here how they're doing. So the Semproni right now have 65 prestige as an entire family, but are not generating any money. Every family expects to be paid 2% of the state income. Since this is not the case, the family considers themselves scorned. If all of its eligible adults are employed by the state, they will not consider themselves to be scorned. Every family member receives the following impact: minus 0.1 loyalty, and that is a big debuff. And then populist conviction plus 0.01. Factions are a thing in democracies. Everyone belongs to a different faction, which you can see as these icons here. So this guy is a civic faction, belongs to the civic faction. You belong to mercantile, religious, military, and then there's also a populist faction, which I am not seeing anyone belonging to right now, which is actually a good thing. Ah, and the populist. There we go. And then you can also see here how much of the state's income they currently own. So the Fabi are actually generating 7% of the state's income for themselves because they are the consuls. They get 5% of the state income because they're the consul, and then 2% because he is the governor of Cisalpine Gaul. You can further modify the amount of money your people are making by your laws, which you can find in this tab here. No, sorry, not laws, economics, economy tab. You can change the wages. So you can decrease the wages, which will decrease their loyalty, but also cost you a lot less. Normal wages, which is no effect. Or you can increase the wages, they'll cost 50% more, but they'll also gain loyalty. When things say adjacent province in most Paradox games, it also includes the adjacent sea tile. True. That was one of the reasons I was zooming in here, because the adjacent sea tile does not connect to North Africa. It was possible that they might have been able to go via Yemena, but it doesn't look like it. It's not in the same sea tile. So I don't know how exactly he plans to do the Exodus. If he was a migratory tribe, he could just leave. So if we go and have a look at Langobardia, for example, a country of which I know absolutely nothing, there's a button right here which allows you to just pick up and go. Langobards are fighting a losing war. Oh dear. Things are not looking good for the Langobards right now. That's a shame. So let's take a quick look at the players, see if there's any player wars going on. Not at the moment. Just take a quick look at the player map mode. So Lionheart has successfully expanded into southeast England. They've taken over Wessex and Sussex and Kent. Enigmatic Rose does seem to be expanding in Brittany, I think. Actually, that might have been the size it was when she inherited it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was already that size when she was conquered. Lambert is definitely expanding. Lambert's goal, of course, to create the Helvetii Republic, which is Proto-Switzerland, I think. Then Solar Gamer is over here. He has expanded by a couple of provinces, as he said when we spoke to him. Game Gapster has definitely expanded a little bit. I think Roach has not yet. I think he is mostly trying to take over Sardinia to use it as a naval base. And then, of course, the deal that he has going with the Prussian Prince, who has pretty much secured the whole of Sicily. So I do wonder what the Prussian Prince's next objective is going to be. I'm not sure. Zayt is still here in Egypt. I think he's pushed east out of the Sinai. Nothing going south yet, so no attempts to go after Kush or Bulimia. Unfortunately, Bactria still has problems with the Seleucids. Let me just have a quick look at the Seleucids, see if they have... I should try and deselect from the Langobards. Still a kid in charge. He is now 4 years old. Right, that was his brother. I remember. This is Stinky. Amantus the Stinky. But it looks like he is still holding on to the country somehow. His popularity is going down, though, so problems are definitely going to be starting. I am very curious to see what happens with Moria and Bactria once those two split, because Moria is a beast. Moria is basically Ming for this game. Boudica belonged to the Iceni, right? Yes, she did. Came later after the game's timeline. Yeah. But not by much. She might actually be, like, right at the end of the timeline. How much population does Moria have? That is a very good question. And if we select you and then select that, 6,700. Okay, so we thought Egypt with its... No, the Seleucids with their 3,000 was high. Moria doubles that. So Moria really is the new Ming. Like, I've not really seen a game where Moria does badly. Solar Gamer was playing as Moria in the Divide the Spoils series that Paradox put on, but unfortunately didn't really have any rivals in the area, so he had a bit of a single-player game, which is why he's trying to be in, like, the heart of actual conflict. Still no player conflicts going on right now. Nothing going on there. Okay, cool. Although Midge has now been relegated to his own chat channel. I wonder why. Okay, so let's find someone who is fighting something right now. You are, but you're kind of crushing them. Actually, are you? Didn't realise I didn't have you selected. Yes, you are crushing them. Let's click on you and click on the commander. So, different characters in different offices will use different stats for their job. So, commanders obviously use the martial stat. That martial stat works just the way as combat pips work for generals, admirals in EU4. So, this 8 is actually a +8 to die rolls for Marcus Fulvius Corvus, so he's a very good commander. I think the highest I've ever seen is 11. I suspect it probably goes to 12. So having a level 8 marshal is really, really good, because the generals, I would say, have a bigger impact in battles than they do in EU4. Another thing to consider when it comes to commanders is their traits can impact as well. So this guy is unnoticeable, which reduces his prominence, and also if he is a governor, it reduces the commerce income. He's stubborn, which will reduce his popularity, which is a really good thing for a general, because you don't want them to be popular, otherwise they have a chance of stealing your armies away. Something else I need to talk about. And if he's the governor, then any local forts have their defense increased, and he's kindly. So loyalty gain chance is increased, which is bad, and he is a commander, so he does have that. And then national freeman output is also increased by 5%. Well, actually, the loyalty is kind of a double-edged sword. It can be good and it can be bad. So if we click on him and see his army, we can see quite a few of his units have this hand. That means that that unit is now loyal to Marcus. You cannot separate the commander from loyal units. You just can't. So if you try to split this unit in half, for example, all of the loyal units would not leave. You cannot replace him as the commander while he has loyal units. That's just his army. However, loyal units will reduce their maintenance costs. So we can see, if we hover over the maintenance cost here, loyal to commander 1.3 ducats. So they basically pay half, or you pay half maintenance on them while they're loyal. Reward, yeah, that's true. Thanks, Rob. Bob, rather. So you can use the character interaction reward veterans. That will basically strip 4 of his loyal cohorts away, but you have to pay 50 oratory power and 100 ducats as well to make that happen. I don't know if it has any, like, reduction to his loyalty. Probably not, because you are generally helping his soldiers out, even though you're making them loyal to the state because you're giving them land, as was promised to the Roman legionaries, rather than not. But that's one way that you can kind of mitigate that problem, which is kind of cool. Rob is cool, we'll go with that moving forward, shed the Bob of old. Alright, I will try to remember to call you Rob. That's going to be weird. Okay, so this is the peace imminent mechanic that I was talking about when Thrace was fighting some of the other Hellenic miners. When 905 days have passed and no contest over the war goal and is fully occupied, Rome may get the province of Campania in an enforced peace. Currently there have been 618 days. So after about 3 years, it is going to be possible to enforce peace. So the defenders can enforce peace if there is no contest for the war goal, or the aggressors can enforce peace if they have taken the war goal and nobody else is fighting them. However, they will only get that in the peace deal. So either a white peace if it's the defender that holds it, or they will take that one province if the aggressor holds it, or they can hold out for an actual peace deal, which is done by the Sue for Peace, where they can take provinces, they can seize money, that type of thing. Oh, we just had a naval battle. So one of the things that occurs as the game goes on is pirates will spawn. And we've just seen that Rome has just cleared out a couple of the pirates. I did see a few of them on the coast. In fact, we're about to see them right here. 7 pirates versus his 10 triremes. And this... No! I hate that. Here's the naval battle. So it's 10 versus 7. You can see his morale, you can see their morale. If you click on... There is a way of seeing the health of each unit, but you can see how many ships are there and then how many have been lost, the die rolls, and then the effect of the commander. So because he has a command of 7, he has a command of 4, they're getting +1. Okay, so it is a ratio, it's not a 1-for-1. I don't know what the ratio is, seeing as he was a level 7 commander versus the level 4, so that would have, I thought, be a 3-point bonus. Okay, I don't know how that's calculated. Just good commander, better than bad commander.